Tell me, do you think there's anything wrong with your mind, really?
Not a thing, Doc. I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.
This moment in Milos Forman's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is arguably one of the most emotional and beloved climaxes in film history. But what makes this climax so satisfying? Well, aside from the development of the relationship between the Chief and McMurphy, there are two very important setups that contribute to the emotional impact of this climax. Both of these setups are masterfully hidden and preserve the surprise that heightens their payoffs. Sometimes when a setup is presented, it is very obvious that this is something that will pay off somewhere towards the end of the film, and sometimes this is the point. But what is so brilliant about these setups is that they are concealed in scenes that accomplish something else: character development. The first setup is in the scene that directly follows the electric shock treatment scene. Right before McMurphy goes in for his electroshock treatment, it is revealed that the Chief, thought by everyone to be deaf and dumb, has actually been pretending the whole time. McMurphy, a man who is faking mental illness to avoid serving a prison sentence, bonds with the Chief over this new information. Despite being scared, McMurphy puts on his usual brave face for the Chief, giving the Chief hope that McMurphy will figure out a way for them both to escape. The setup occurs in the scene following the electroshock treatment. McMurphy is returned to the ward seemingly brain damaged, but as it turns out, McMurphy is faking yet again. The real essence of this setup comes in this shot-reverse shot. We, the audience, have a special connection to McMurphy and the Chief, and this little wink kept secret from the rest of the characters allows us to share in the connection that they have with each other. You can't keep old Randall McMurphy down. McMurphy, and therefore hope, is not lost. This pays off beautifully as McMurphy is returned to the ward late at night after nearly strangling Nurse Ratched to death. There's been much speculation between the patients as to what happened to McMurphy following the incident. The Chief goes to McMurphy's bed to find that old Randall is not faking this time. This scene is absolutely heartbreaking because despite all of the antics and trouble McMurphy has caused throughout the film, the consequences of his actions had never been enough to crush his spirit. Until now. The second setup occurs in the sink scene. The sink scene works as character development because it is metaphorical for how McMurphy is confident and headstrong and believes that he is pulling a fast one on everybody by pretending to be crazy. But he can't move the sink just like he can't work the system. The Chief character is the opposite of McMurphy: shy, quiet, and unconfident.
It's easier than you think, Chief.
For you, maybe. You're a lot bigger than me.
In the climax, we don't just get the brilliant plot payoff of the sink being revisited under new circumstances, but we get a character arc payoff. The Chief lifting the sink is him realizing he has the strength to take charge of his own life. The concealing of the setup in the sink scene works in two ways. One, at this point, we the audience do not know that the Chief is a coherent person, and instead think of him as another quirky character and ultimately useless to McMurphy. So this shot of the Chief looking at the sink doesn't necessarily register as a setup. And two, this scene sets up the dynamic between McMurphy and the other patients by showing them as pacified and without hope, while McMurphy believes that he will eventually overcome whatever obstacle is placed in front of him. Whereas this doesn't work out for McMurphy, McMurphy ultimately teaches the Chief how to overcome his own.